Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi and our online audience tuning in. Thanks to our friends at Amazon Music Podcast and iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome recording artist Chelsey James to our program today. We're going to talk to Chelsey not only about the year that's been 2020 for her, but she's released a new single, Hands on the Bible. We'll get into that a bit, as well as let you guys know how to stay connected with her, as well as what she has planned for 2021 as well. Chelsey, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Glad to do it. So we have to begin with some good news, and that is this new single that you released this year, Hands on the Bible. I was just sharing with you, I've already written a review for it through our partners at Amazon.com. We're going to remind our audience how they can be able to get it. But what has it been like for you to see the response to the single, Chelsey?
Well, you know, when I decided to record the song, I didn't know how the audience was going to receive it, but I knew that I loved the song so much, I just had to record it and release it for myself, regardless of if people liked it or not. Of course, I loved it, so I was hoping that people would. But, you know, it turned out that, and I guess I was kind of expecting this, but I was also surprised by how many messages and responses I received just about how this year has been for everyone. You know, I can safely say it's been rough on probably everyone on earth this year.
Right.
And the responses I was getting, not just about that they liked the song, but how it's touched people and how it's been like a saving grace to hear this message after this, you know, this really tough year. I mean, I can't tell you how many messages I've gotten like, oh, you know, I just lost my grandma this year and, you know, due to COVID, and this song reminds me of her. I mean, just stuff like that. Like, I'm just blown away. And I was hoping that it would be, you know, something that could lift people up in this year, you know, something to inspire everyone. So I'm just blown away by all of my responses. So I'm so happy.
Yeah, and we're going to get more into that, Chelsey. I think for myself, and I said this in my review, is that two things definitely stand out in the song, and that is, one, the importance of appreciating what we have. And I think maybe some of us, maybe we didn't do it as much as we should have before a year like this, but also reminding us of what we have to hold on to. And I think that's one of the big things that Hands on the Bible shows. So I want to go back then, too, I mean, because it's definitely a gift to be able to have people feel something when they listen to music. Have you always known that music was that gift you had?
You know, I kind of have a funny and different and kind of unique story of, like, my life in music, because I actually got started a lot later in life than I feel like most people do. It was kind of a random discovery. I didn't know that I had this in me until maybe my sophomore year in college, I think it was, and I was just singing to the radio. We were getting ready to go somewhere, some friends of mine. We were at one of my friends' apartments. I was singing to the radio, and they were like, oh, my gosh, like, sing some more. And I'm like, okay. And long story short, they forced me to go to karaoke bars around town and sing, and I eventually, you know, got up the courage to join a cover band. And I remember my first show ever. I was so terrified when I saw, you know, I was getting ready to go up on stage, and I saw people out sitting in the venue, and I was so terrified. I didn't even think I could physically walk up on that stage, but I told myself, okay, you have to get through this show, and then you never have to do this again. And I got up on stage thinking, okay, just get through this, and then I never am going to do this again. And the first song, I'm telling you, it's hard to explain, but something just clicked, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know. It was the strangest thing. It was totally a God thing. It's like he was telling me right then in that moment, you have found what you're supposed to do. And from then on, I was like, I developed into, writing songs. I never had even thought about that or thought that I could do that. So it was kind of a random and later discovery for me, honestly. But now I'm like, kind of wish I would have started earlier now. But, I guess everything happens when it's supposed to happen. I truly believe that.
Right.
So.
Well, that is a great story. Thank you for sharing that. So, Chelsey, I want to go back to that story and think about where you are today, because your feelings getting up on that stage then, thinking, okay, once you do this, you don't have to do it again. Now, do you feel more at home on stage?
Yes, that is something. Okay, I always say this, and people think I'm crazy, but I'm like, I know it doesn't make sense, but I would rather, we all had to take like public speaking class in college or high school or whatever. I always tell people I would rather sing in front of 100,000 people in a stadium than get up in front of 10 people and have to give a 2-minute speech.
Yeah,
I don't know what it
is,
but I swear, I think everyone's meant to do something specific, and I think you're given whatever everyone has a talent. It may not be performing, but everyone has something, and when you're meant to do something, there's nothing that is going to stop you. There's times even now that I still get terrified, if it's a new venue or maybe a new town that I haven't played or something. I still get nervous, but there's something bigger that just overtakes you, and you're able to get in the moment. And I truly feel like I'm the happiest when I'm singing for people, whether it's 2 people, whether it's 3,000. I wish that's my favorite part of this, is getting in front of people and singing live, because I love connecting with people, and I always hope to leave a show with a whole new room full of friends. That's absolutely my favorite part.
It's funny you mentioned being in front of 3 people or 3,000. You now have over 21,000 that are following you on Instagram. And for our audience who are not following her there, you guys can find her at Chelsey James Music. What has that been like for you to use social media, especially in a year like this, Chelsey, to stay connected and engage with your fans?
Well, I will say, there's always a silver lining, even in a year like this. And for me, playing live shows is obviously what I love. However, it is very time consuming. So sometimes that takes up more of your time than, you don't get to spend as much on the content that you're putting out and connecting with people on social media. So this year has actually given me the time to prioritize how to connect with people that may not ever be able to come see me at a show or see me live or whatever. It's like I've kind of been able to learn that in a different way and learn how important it actually is to be able to connect with people on the internet and not just at a show, So this year has definitely allowed me to be better at that, and also to really think about, what do I want to, what content do I want to put out there for people? What are people responding to? I've gotten to pay way more attention to that. And also, really, it's as simple as having time to sit and read through, private messages or comments and all of that. Because sometimes, if you're super busy, you just can't always go back to the post and read all the comments. So it's given time to adapt and learn how to adapt, really.
Yeah. Well, I know your fans definitely enjoyed that time and being able to spend that time with you. I'm going to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live We're excited to welcome recording artist Chelsey James to our program, telling Chelsey not only about the year that's been 2020, but also her new single, Hands on the Bible, that's out now. You can get it through our friends at Amazon.com or through your favorite online retailer. We're going to remind you all of that. And I know that you're already looking forward to 2021. A lot of people are excited about getting this year behind them. Chelsey,
yes.
what are some of the things that you're looking forward to in the new year?
Well, you're definitely going to hear some new music pretty early in the year.
Okay.
I believe I can say this date because I'm pretty sure it's confirmed. If I have to change it, that's okay. But I believe the date for my new single, which is called The Men and the Boys, is going to release February 12th. So that's going to be the first single. I actually have a whole EP of music that we're going to release to the world starting in February, and we hope to release new music every about 2 months. So next year will be filled with a lot of new music. Of course, there's songs that I already have my songs picked out that I'll be shooting music videos for and all that. So I'm so excited. I mean, we really have our whole year planned out almost. I've had a lot of time to sit down this year and write new songs, so that's been good. Wow. But yeah, this first single, it's going to be a quite different sound than Hands on the Bible. I do have kind of a rock side to me as well, so you're definitely going to hear that come out.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that, and I wasn't even going to ask you that, but I'm glad you said what you just said, Chelsey. I think, again, and when I was listening to Hands on the Bible, it, to me, is such a people song. And I understand because of the business, I think it's by nature people want to compartmentalize you and say you're this or that. What has that been like for you? I mean, was it a natural thing for you to embrace a genre, or for you is it just about doing the music that feels good to your soul?
I will say, for me, I have one requirement always, and that is whether I write the song or not. And, sometimes even if I personally write a song, that doesn't mean I necessarily have a deep personal connection with the lyrics. Sometimes you just write fun songs that are for other people. However, I do have one requirement for things that I put out, and it's I have to somehow deeply connect with the song, whether I write it or not. And, of course, Hands on the Bible, I did not write. And when I heard it, I'm from Missouri. I grew up on a farm. Half of my family are farmers, so it's like obviously I had a deep connection with that song.
Sure.
So that's the main requirement to me, because I feel like even if the music maybe doesn't match your brand necessarily, if you really connect with a song, it's going to come through and people will feel it. But I do tend to love like big, loud, full guitars, which Hands on the Bible, even though that's more of an inspirational, laid-back song, it still has those big guitars that I love. So it's like you can kind of make it your own within the music too. So I would say like big guitars, and I have to be able to connect with the song. Those are like my two big things. Other than that, it's like it's all about the big thing is really connecting. So
connecting, yeah. Well, look, it definitely comes through in a song like this, and definitely, if our audience has not heard Hands on the Bible, you have to check it out. For those who are joining us through Amazon Music Podcast as well as through iHeartRadio, we're linking that single up for you guys with the podcast. Again, our guest has been Chelsey James, who's celebrating a great high note in 2020. Looking forward to great things from her in 2021. I mentioned Instagram earlier, Chelsey. Where is the best place for our audience to stay connected with you?
So just Chelsey James Music. That's where you're going to find me on most every platform. Although Twitter, which I just recently joined, I'm a little behind on that one, but which I think that is Chelsey J, just J Music. But I always like to say my name is spelled S-E-Y at the end and not S-E-A. So if you try to search S-E-Y or S-E-A, you may not find me. It's a little different spelling. But Chelsey James Music, you can find me anywhere using that.
All right. Well, Chelsey, congratulations to you again. So glad that Core PR set up this chat with us for today, and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure is definitely all ours. Really excited about what's to come for you for 2021, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.